to the.
We not for sale. Let's get it.
Hey.
My work duties.
Hey, we not for sale.
Yeah, we not for sale. Y'all just got to hear what we talk about before the show started. You know, I'm trying to be all professional and like, let's go, let's start. And I bust up laughing and shit. Welcome to the podcast. We not for sale. It's your boy MK.
Not for sale.
Got all the brothers around the table. Yo. All the brothers around. I mean, all. We got an OG member today.
We here.
The
Busted. Say what's up to the people.
What's up? What's up? We not for sale. How's it going?
Yeah, Busted haven't been here for a while, but he's here today, and y'all check it out because my man always got something to say. Busted, who's next to you right there?
My boy Jay West Estrada,
Yeah.
fitness extraordinaire.
Hey, what up, y'all? This is Jason Estrada. Estrada Fitness, peace, love, and health.
That brother got a big ass smile on his face too. I love that shit, man. What you smiling about, dog?
Hey, man, I say if you're not smiling, you're not living, man.
You got the big vein coming out the forehead.
Yeah, that's the Estrada vein right
Smiling
there.
like you gonna die or something.
That vein go back at least 5 generations right there.
That's right. You should smile. It increases your face value, everyone. There you go.
And who says that? None other than
West Strata. You can't spell the West without the EST or a ADA. West Strata, there it is. If you happy and you know it, clap your hands.
you can tell they brothers because they both were saying some crazy shit right now. I'm just sorry right off the bat.
They see out there. That's that third eye.
Mr. What?
I done blew my whistle.
Come on, Raymond.
That's too much turning up in Vegas, man.
Wait a minute.
Hey, man.
Hold on,
You
everybody.
sounding real, real rusty down
Try
there.
that again.
There we go.
There we go. There we go.
That was a clean one.
That's my boy Ray in the house.
What's happening, y'all? Ray Lou, RJ Lewis, Skrill, a.k.a.
There we go.
Right back
Got
to
it
it.
back, huh?
God bless y'all. To my right, my man Too Sick the Great.
There you go. Too Sick the Great, a.k.a. James J. We in here. We not for sale. And to my right, I got my boy C-No Collins.
C-No Collins in the house, a.k.a. Hollywood.
Yeah, Hollywood. You've been on.
I've been MIA. I'm just happy to be back amongst my brothers. I was handling some business on the sandy beaches of Honolulu.
Yeah, he went Hollywood.
Name drop.
Yeah,
He went Hollywood.
Yeah. You know him, but
Fancy.
We're from Hollywood to Honolulu.
yeah, man. But I'm back on the west side with my family, with my folks. So,
You one of them fancy niggas.
man, call me what you want, man.
Ooh, where you stay at the Four Seasons?
Man. Actually, the Alani Disney Resort.
Hors
and
d'oeuvres
spa.
in the morning.
Yeah. Fresh squeeze on orange juice and pineapple, coconut. Nah, I'm bullshit. We was at a Hyatt. And to my right, I got the Lincoln Lawyer, Mini Mac. Yeah, I mean, why don't you say something?
Ooh. Church, money making Mike over here. Hey, but for real, it's the Lincoln Lawyer. The flyest I drive the most. I tell you, I've been all over Southern California this week. Marietta has a real nice courthouse. As far as fun. Marietta. Like 100 miles.
Yeah.
And running.
That's like close to San Diego.
Yeah.
Close to Pachanga.
Oh, yeah. I used to know her.
Oh, man. With that card. That's that card.
Yeah, what's somebody do over there?
Hey Wes, hit the people with social media because we out there. We got it on and popping. Where can they find us, bro?
Oh, yeah. You can find us. You can meet us there or beat us there. You dig that? It's at We Not For Sale. That's WEKNOTFORCEL.
What?
You dig.
Say
That's
it one
on
more time.
We Not For Sale, at We Not For Sale on Twitter and Instagram. And there you have it.
So we're going to get into a lot of different issues today. We kind of keep it in an open forum. One of the things that attracted me to work with these dudes is, my cousin came to me and said, man, these dudes, we sit around and we have all these amazing conversations. Wouldn't it be great if people could hear what we're talking about? And so far, we've just been, keeping the show to like one topic and then things like that. But we're going to open it up today. Damn, I wish this was live radio where we could have people call and just go off of that kind of stuff. But we're going to show you today how funky fresh these brothers are. And we're going to do some intelligent talks on a lot of different conversations. We're going to talk about women in sports and equal pay with men. And we're going to talk about mental health and fears and opening up. We're going to get into talking about how black people talk to one another, how men talk to one another. It's a lot of things we're going to get into today. But first thing I want to talk about, because I just came back from Vegas watching Summer League NBA basketball. And man, free agency opened up. And these dudes is making money. They making moves.
LA.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, we all sitting around thinking Kawhi gonna come here, but he goes to the Clippers. PG-13 pulls off some shit and gets himself traded to the Clippers.
Shout out to the bro PG.
He made that happen.
I mean, like, the NBA is different from the NFL. The NFL, I want to trade. Your ass gets sent to Buffalo.
Hey, what the fuck are you talking about?
Sorry about that.
I don't appreciate you saying that.
Your ass gets sent to Cincinnati because I can't even say Cleveland anymore because Cleveland kind of lied, right?
Yeah, they turned up.
But, you know what? First of all, fuck American Airlines. Sorry, Ray, they'll never be a sponsor. Motherfuckers had me on the tarmac today for 2 hours, sitting in a seat.
Fine for that, man.
It's a 45-minute flight, but I was sitting there for 2 hours. The plane didn't even fucking take off. So
Waiting to
That's
find
why
the
you gotta
gate.
fly private, man.
Nah. He said the plane didn't take off.
we didn't even take off,
He
bro.
was before he took off, bro.
We were sitting on the first. So this is what I'm mad about. My flight was at 11 a.m. I got to the fucking gate at 10:20. The plane was sitting there. So that motherfucker was sitting there. And by the time we got on, they discovered something was wrong with it. Like, this shit been sitting there. Do your pre-flight check before you take the fuck off.
Right.
They shut the plane down, came and fixed it. We drove off. We got halfway out. It was like, oh, we got to fix some other shit. So we just sat there for another 90 minutes. So
Hey, but you made it. You made it here, though.
Yeah.
You made it safe.
So you got to be happy about that.
Yeah, you could be worse.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because if my plane was fucked up and they didn't check it, then I'll be on American's ass.
you gotta fly private next time.
well, they think they slick and shit. The plane was too fucking heavy because I've flown enough to know when you pull over on the runway and you just revving the engine and shit, that means the plane's too fucking heavy and they trying to burn off gas. I know that shit. But so anyway, I was in Vegas watching Summer League. But what y'all think, man? Did the Lakers get screwed or are we good? Because we started signing a bunch of people, and most of us around this table are Laker fans, right? Right,
Yeah.
right.
Absolutely.
Lakers got squad. They got squad this season.
We do.
Yeah, and that was all a part of the plan, you know. That was, I mean, obviously, any of us, if we were the GM, we would have waited to a Kawhi decision as well. Me personally, I like the competitive nature. So, you know, as a fan, NBA fan, you know, first, I would like to go against Kawhi. Or if I was Kawhi, I would want to play against LeBron. Just that competitive nature, you know. You never want to be handed something like if we all went to the basketball court, we never just want to just take on all the sorry losers. Then it's not going to be fun. We ain't going to get a workout. So
I get that, but I just want to point. I mean, shout out to the Southern California Clippers, because that's what they are. That's why they have a Southern California team. They got an Antelope Valley and an IE cap. That's what they got. They
Don't
don't.
you ever shout out the Clippers, nigga, on this podcast.
The Southern California
Like,
Clippers,
don't
but the
ever
Los
shout-
Angeles Lakers
Don't you ever
are
do
still
that no more.
poised to be the NBA Finals champions.
We will never say that again on air.
we'll take AD and LeBron over, you know, Kawhi and Paul George any day. So that's what it is.
But how did nobody? I think what shocked us all was like, who knew Paul George was one to trade?
Yeah.
It was
That
like,
was a
how
Cal
did they
State
keep
NBA
that
coup.
a secret? That shit was a secret. It was like,
He did
Because
that.
Kawhi Camp don't talk to nobody.
Well,
Period.
I will say that the game was off balance. You know what I'm saying? Like J. Cole say, the game was off balance. But now I think it added a little bit more balance now.
Yeah, it's
You know
gonna
what
be
I'm
an
saying?
interesting season.
It's a lot of
Philly looking good.
it's a lot of good teams out there next year, and I think the West is always going to be a beast.
is
but
definitely trash now.
It's definitely a lot more balance.
trash right now.
I think the game needed that shift, you know, and I think as a fan, you got to appreciate things like that, you know, and I appreciate Kawhi and his team for just, you know, throwing everybody off. You know, did nobody know they was going to? Actually, there were talks that said the Clippers were actually out of the question.
right.
And his camp was probably just sitting back laughing like, watch this, they have no idea. So I think it added more balance to it. So
I'm just happy to see a young brother with leverage, you know, to actually get to a place where you have leverage, where people are waiting on you, people are discussing the NBA as a whole, and they're including your name. To me, that's taking your athleticism to the height of all heights. Lo and behold, just being able to sign a contract for a max deal and know that your family is taken care of for the rest. Your grandkids are taken care of for the rest is a tremendous blessing, man. So shout out to Kawhi and his family, man, and shout out to him just being himself, really just taking on the role of laying back and making wise decisions, and also, you know, going out and recruiting a friend, so he said, you know, and Paul George, man, and he felt will be a good fit back at home, and him having the leverage to make it happen, man, it's a tremendous blessing.
Yeah.
Shout out to Kawhi.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this NBA season. I'm looking forward to that cross hall Clippers Lakers battle.
It's about to be that. Shout out to the Oakland Golden State Warriors.
Where
Yeah.
did that come from?
Did you say Golden State? Because they out of here?
Yeah, Golden State. Excuse me. That's my town talk. But
Warriors
Golden
are
State
projected
Warriors.
to finish number 9 next season.
Hey, it's all good, man. I'm staying loyal to the soil, man.
Keep
You
that
know,
same
shout out
energy, nigga.
shout out to D'Angelo Russell. We don't play that snitching shit in the town, but we welcome you with open arms, hoping for a good season.
Hey, man, give him the benefit
But
of the doubt.
we don't know where that kid is going to end and where that kid lands. My question was, is there any way for that kid to land back in Los Angeles, and will we take him with who he's turned into?
Hey, we'll see in February at the trade deadline.
Yeah, it's we got what we got right now. You know, we got DeMarcus Cousins. You know, we got Jared Dudley. You know, a veteran. You know, we got Danny Green. So, you know, it's a lot. It's a lot. We got Troy Daniels.
about
We
the
got
coach,
shooters.
Wes?
I'm loving the coaches. You know, defensive minded first. You know, I love that we got a Jason Kidd, because you always want to have player coaches too. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just loving it. You know, I can't wait till the season start. You know, Kawhi chose the losers. You know, so we gonna he wanted to be a loser. So, you know, he's a winner. But what I do respect, that he's a winner at heart, and you know, he wanted to go against it, but he's still gonna lose.
And on the flip side, go ahead, Buster. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was saying you said we got Jason Kidd.
Yeah, as a coach.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Like assistant.
Yeah,
that's dope.
Assistant coach. You know, he gonna want to be the head coach after 3 days, but yeah.
And I like what Ray was saying too. I like that players are getting leverage. Like they're really starting to have make the moves they want to move. Right. I think that's really dope. The Clippers came up though. I like it though. I like that move.
Yeah, me
As a
too.
Laker fan, you know, we want to
Patrick
Kawhi for
Beverly,
sure.
he one of
but-
my favorites.
Oh yeah, he a beast. I
Hey,
like that
Buster,
boy. He be
let me
hooping.
ask you this. It's now to a point where it's not really about the owners no more, huh? It's back to like, you know, before it got to a point where it was, you know, players would hope that they can go
Right.
to a certain team.
Yeah.
Now it seems like a lot of them are making the decisions and the choices of where they want to go.
Yeah.
And what's actually best for them and their family.
And I think LeBron spearheaded that.
Right.
He did.
You know,
Absolutely.
the owners
not caring about what nobody said about
Right.
where the fuck he wanted to go or nothing like that. He was like, you know, this is what I want to do, and
Yeah.
all the moves he making. Like I think that was really dope.
Absolutely. And what's interesting, I want to ask Mike, since you was at the Summer League this past weekend, the awkwardness at LeBron seeing Zoe and, you know, the players that basically, you know, he was, you know, rumored to be behind letting them go. How was that awkwardness, you know, seeing Jay Hart and Zoe shake his hand? I saw
Awkward as hell.
I'm sure.
Awkward as hell. You know, because I remember, you know, I was at an away game watching the game, and this was right before the trade deadline. And I think I can't remember where the team was, and I was fortunate to be at the game. And they were yelling at BI, LeBron's going to trade you. The whole LeBron's going to trade you. So they put a lot of stuff behind, you know, LeBron making moves and things like that. But listen, at the end of the day, it's what's on the front of the jersey, not the back. It's about the purple and gold. And that's just, you know, kind of how I feel about it. But on the other end of the spectrum, and I don't know if y'all follow this, but shout out to my girl Coco. She took down a legend.
Absolutely.
You know, we love Venus. We love Serena.
Coco Golf.
But, you know, hey, it went down. You know, and it was a black princess taking down a
15
black
years
queen.
old?
Yeah, when it's your time, it's your time.
Right.
I like to see it, man, and I think we watched those girls dominate the sport for about 20 years.
Over 20 years.
Oh, wait, let me say this before the Estrada brothers say it. Shout out to Compton.
Absolutely.
Hey, shout
You know
out
what
to
I'm saying? But I think it was it's due that we get some fresh young meat in there. You know?
Yeah.
I love it. I you know, watching a young lady have an opportunity to jump in there and compete against Venus was amazing. But for her to actually win another two,
That's
you know,
key.
get past
Right.
to the round of 16,
Right.
she's no fluke. She's serious out there. She has a support system as far as a mother and a father,
Right.
which is
She
beautiful
got the
to see.
drive too.
Oh
My
man,
God.
she's out there doing it, man. So
sure.
we're all excited to see her continue to do well.
I will say that that's one sport that women get recognized more than men. Because I can't even tell you who was facing off in the men's competition. I obviously, Nadal and Federer, but you don't know anyone else.
Right.
But like with the women, I'm more intrigued with who's actually competing on the women's side of tennis than any other sport.
Well, you have Serena to thank for that.
No, that's the Williams sisters, brother. It's not just Serena.
Yeah, it's the Williams sisters.
It's the Williams sisters.
The Williams sisters. But Serena was very vocal,
Serena was,
consistent.
but Venus was winning. Venus won Wimbledon, a major first, and she won Wimbledon like over 20 years ago.
Absolutely.
Like, and then Serena came in like,
boom,
like leapfrog over. Yeah,
but Serena put out an album about it. Like she was really really vocal about women's rights and everything. So I know Venus on the court, she set the platform, but shout out to Serena for really giving, women that platform.
I mean, you bring this things up about women's rights, and like one of the things big right now, just this week, you look at the women's national team. They came up big again.
Hey,
shout out to USA.
It's a beautiful thing.
Dope.
to the players on the team.
Yeah, to the players on the team. Yeah, to the player. I know how. Don't let me get him started over here. God damn, boy. But yes, the U.S. Women's soccer team did their thing once again, man. Big shout out to them, man. Much respect. Big up.
But what do we think about equality in sports? I mean, you mentioned, Wes, that Serena was making a big stink about equal pay and going in on what the men make, and I know a lot of women on the women's national team have been talking about that too. I mean, what are your thoughts on equal pay when it comes to sports? Because I know you got a background in sports. Mm-hmm. You played a little ball.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you this: have you ever been to a WNBA game?
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, I go to many, and it's important for us, as men, to be seen supporting, women in sports, as well as, just going out there and generally doing it, out the honesty of our hearts. But, one thing about it is, I know this is, the economy, the way it's set up, everything is, the income base. And obviously, the males bring in, or the male sports generate more money than a majority of female sports.
Right.
But at the same time, I do side with the women. I do believe that they do deserve a higher pay rate.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Absolutely. I think it's for the gap to be such, you got, from 60,000 to 500,000 or to 500,000 to 5 million, that's a large gap right there.
Right.
And I just think, we can, close that gap a little bit.
I mean, I agree with you on that, but at the end of the day, Wes, the women has to start supporting these women. I mean, I know several women with LeBron jerseys, and I don't know any woman with any female basketball player's jersey.
Right.
I've never seen a woman walking down the street wearing one or supporting these. They got to start supporting these games as well.
Yeah, and it's a process, and that's why I like LeBron going out there and supporting women at the WNBA games and always shouting out women on his Instagram social media platform. It's a step by step, and I think it will get better as time goes on.
But is the product the same?
No.
Elaborate. Go ahead.
Like when you go to an
This
NBA
is a giant
game
person Lynn talking, by
and
the
you
way.
see LeBron slam dunk,
The Lincoln lawyer.
you see, well, really it's the dunk. That's what it is.
All right.
That's what it is. That's what separates
hey,
us
let's
at the end of the day, and that's a huge part of basketball.
Let's
To a certain degree, but
hey, don't let him hang
It's
himself.
the dunk because there's women who can shoot as good as a Steph Curry.
Yeah, but it's
the dunk.
women
The
play-
skill is about the same. But
It
the
is.
athletic ability is not.
No, it's different. It's like
I think you got a point with
it's
that.
totally different. When you watch a woman's game, it's like they play very basic and fundamental. And it's like you're relearning. You can really get a chance to learn exactly how to play the game by watching
Fundamentals
women.
of basketball.
Yeah,
by
very
watching
true.
women. Like I watched the other day, it was a woman did a bounce pass, and I was like, shit, I haven't seen anyone do a bounce pass in God knows how long. You know what I'm saying? But it is a difference. It's not the same.
I feel Jai with the dunk though, because like Have you ever seen a woman get dunked on by another woman in a game?
I'd like to see it.
Has it ever happened?
I'd like to see her get
I'm just
up.
asking, has it
That
ever
highlight
happened?
comes up, we watching the next game.
It's been a dunk.
Shout out to Brittany Griner. Shout out to
Candace Parker.
Candace Parker.
Definitely.
To the Lisa
I
Leslies
want
of
to
the
say
world.
Lisa Leslie was the first WNBA
Lisa
player
Leslie's
to dunk in a
of the
game.
Yeah.
And today is Lisa Leslie's birthday. Happy birthday.
Hey,
Lisa.
shout out to the Inglewood great.
Shout out.
Well, hold on.
Greatest
Today is
ever
my
do it.
mom's birthday.
Hey, happy
birthday to Mom.
Hey,
Mama 2-6.
Hey, happy birthday, Mama 2-6.
Hey, Mom. Sorry Jammers turned out this way.
So, have you ever been to a WNBA game? You checked it out?
I went to the very first Sparks versus New York game. New York won, but I was there, and I've always supported the Sparks. I'm happy when they win the finals.
Right.
I cannot say I've ever bought a Sparks jersey though.
Yeah.
Well,
I've been to a Sparks game too, but it was for work purposes, not
Did you
for
buy a jersey?
entertainment. Absolutely not. Absolutely, and that's
Jay
no
West?
shade. That's no shade. That's no shade.
Collins
Well, that's
speaking,
where
ladies.
that equal pay comes in.
That's no shade to the Sparks or anything, but I'm just.
Got
I
a
mean,
Sparks jersey, Jay West.
Oh, yes, I do. And I also bought one for my mother and grandma. And I also have hats.
Yeah,
as
that
well.
Lisa Leslie jersey is classic. I don't care where you at or how manly you are. If you rocking a Lisa Leslie jersey, no one's
That's
gonna
all.
talk about you, bro.
I'm gonna
that's
talk
all.
about you.
That's
I'm
all.
definitely. I'm not rocking a Lisa Leslie
but
jersey.
see, that
Why
brings
not?
up a great point that
you better
that-
knock it off. She's a legend,
That's
bro.
great. I support her, but I'm not wearing a jersey.
Why not? I'm on that. Go ahead.
yeah.
I don't think they make them in his size.
No, you brought up a great point.
Hey, he gonna wear that Cheryl Swoops. That Cheryl Swoops.
Hold on.
That's a hard jersey.
Hold on, because you brought up a
USA
great
jersey?
point.
Yeah.
You brought up a great point that I don't want to let go too far. It's about the women got to start supporting these sports. So
Absolutely.
with you having a daughter, are you going to go out and get the jersey for the? I mean, like, how are you going to be a part of the process?
Well, to tell you the truth, I don't have any NBA jersey at home, so it's not anything against the Sparks. I'm not a big enough hoop fan. Maybe I had a couple jerseys back in the day with the throwback era, but I just don't wear a jersey. So it's no.
I'm talking about you. I'm talking about your daughter. Are you gonna?
Oh, if she's into basketball, yeah, for sure.
Right.
Or if she's into soccer, I'll get her a soccer jersey. I mean, it's really whatever she's into.
Right.
You know, I'm not discriminating against anything.
I think it's something to talk about too when we talk about what our daughters are into, because I think that when you market a sport to a child that's in the inner city from the moment that they're born all the way through, the time to turn 18, they want to be a professional athlete.
Right.
And I think that with women, it's just they're not spending enough dollars inside the inner city or in the community to market competitive sports to women, to where most women don't play basketball with other women until high school.
Right.
It's like if you're like, we had a girl on my street, on my block where I grew up in Compton. Shout out to my sister Janae, but she was literally the only girl on my block that could hoop with us, and that hoop period. But she would literally hoop with us every single day, and she was nice.
She had the court in her yard.
Exactly. She had the court in her yard. She had game, and we was like, man, this girl is just, she can play anytime she wants because she got skills.
Right.
So I think that when you market it, when you have a marketing plan that's specifically targeting men, I think that you end up with what we have now, which is male sports being the dominant, the dominant economic. They're in the upper echelon of the
Right.
economic toll in terms of what they bring in.
Right.
For sure.
Sports are war games, basically.
I'm
That's the whole point of it.
I'm sitting up here just like blown away. Like I would love to see this nigga wear a Lisa Leslie jersey.
Bro,
I can't. let it go, dog.
I actually have a Lisa
We'll
Leslie
wear it.
jersey.
Wear it the next show.
I actually have a
I-
Noel Quinn jersey too. That's one of my sisters.
I've
Shout out
never
to Noe.
seen you. I've known you. I've never seen you wear a women's jersey before, bro.
Hey, listen.
I would love to see that. It would probably just
But I
bring me
got
to
it.
fucking tears.
But I got it.
Let's keep it with she for a minute. Let's keep talking about she and her. And I want to kind of transition into her in the workplace since we talking women in sports. But I saw something this week. There was an actress for a show that I watch, and this is happening more and more. But she left the show because she was. I caught myself. She was talking about how she wasn't making enough money and making enough as related to her male co-star. And she said something interesting that kind of caught my eye. She said, I'm not saying I have to make more money, but he has to make less. Somehow we got to equal out. What y'all think about women just in the workplace? I mean, we talk about athletes, but just in the workplace, if you're doing the same job, why is it they're not making the same money as we are from doing the same job?
Well, I would say as a business owner, if any woman comes to Strata Fitness to work for me, you're definitely going to make more. You're definitely going to get your just due. I'll make sure of that. Me being an entrepreneur, that's something I've always, made sure that it has to be equal. I don't discriminate. So if you don't listen, ladies, if you don't want the company, all the men in the company, all in the videos,
say it, Jay,
all on the IG talking about how much money they make.
Say it.
You know what I'm saying? Trying to make sure that you don't get your just due, not inviting you to the office meetings. Come to Strata Fitness.
Come to Strata Fitness. I like that right there. Okay.
That was smooth.
I think it's a worthwhile conversation, especially having a mother who worked in the corporate world, for 30 plus years, for multiple different companies. My mom was a stellar employee. She showed up a little late sometimes, but she had single parent home. But she definitely, spoke to me and my sister about not getting paid equal and about going through the struggles of being a black woman in the corporate world. And I believe that women, if they're doing the same job, doing it just as well, they should get paid equally.
Yeah.
And I think that needs to be amended immediately.
I just want to know, where did that come from? You know what I mean?
I'm not sure. I mean, yeah.
I mean, being black, I've been discriminated on enough in life, so I get the fact that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So imagine what black women are going through.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Being black and a woman, and just to piggyback off what Ray said, I mean, it shouldn't come down to gender. If you have the skill set, you should get paid your just due. You know what I'm saying? Point blank, period. No male egotistical shit or anything like that. Just like if you doing the same job, and I know a lot of women, coincidentally, a lot of women hire me for jobs. Right. I work with a lot of women, so and I learn from a lot of women. Yeah. So I'm all about like women getting their just due.
No, I mean if you're doing
pay
the
these
same,
women, man. Pay them.
If they doing the same shit, like what's
the problem?
Hey, women,
Like,
you got to stand up and say we not for sale. Pay me.
Church.
But in standing up, you look at like this Me Too movement, and some guys are like, well, damn, I think they went too far. You know what I mean? I mean, there's guys right now. Listen, I'm a supervisor. I don't want to have a meeting in an office with the door closed because I'm scared. I mean, was that?
And that's the flavor of the day. But to that point, as black men, I do think women have to understand we didn't make the imbalance in pay. We suffer an imbalance in pay as well. And when they run the numbers of what black women earn versus black men, I really want to know if they put the few hundred professional athletes in there, because I think if you take them out and in my experience at Hampton, Howard, is 2-to-1 women to men. Mm-hmm. So I'm not seeing, it's not my experience that black men are just out here earning way more than women outside of sports. Outside of sports. That's just not my experience.
That is a good point.
And so I think we should look at that. And then as far as the Me Too, to a degree, anytime we're just not giving the accused the option to be heard, we went too far. And that's where I think we are in the Me Too movement. And anybody that stands with the accused, even if you stand with the accused as, hey, that's my loved one, I'm standing with them. If they wrong, they got to pay for it, but that's still my loved one. You're still vilified. And that becomes problematic because, especially for black men, because of the tag we've had in this nation's history as the sexual predator, whether it's been warranted or not. But remember, Black Wall Street burned down. Why? Because they said this nigga was a sexual predator against this woman. And that's what it invokes in my mind, and why I was, it's like the Bill Cosby's and the R. Kelly's. I was one of the few people I know that was vocal about like really looking at the stories, looking at what's going on, not just listening to the media
To the
rhetoric,
noise.
because
Right,
what
yeah.
they're doing is making us, again, that sexual predator. And now they've made the black man the face of rape, when we don't rape more than any other group, and the black
Harvey
man the face of
Weinstein.
pedophilia, and we're even less pedophiles than we are rapists.
The Pope.
But we've successfully allowed the media to make the black man that.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you bring up an excellent point. Bill Cosby was definitely a shocker to me, but R. Kelly wasn't.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, as far as pointing the finger on that one, that was the right finger.
That's a correct finger.
It was the right finger to be pointed. But as far as his situation is concerned, like I would, those parents was fucked up. You know,
There's some shit that happened how many years
if he
ago?
go to jail, all those parents need to go to jail as well, because they allow that shit to go on, and there's no way my daughter is going with no grown nigga on tour. That's out.
Yeah.
But he's an ephebophiliac, not a pedophile. An ephebophiliac is somebody who's sexually attracted to like post-adolescent women.
See,
a pedophile is one
Yeah.
that's sexually attracted to prepubescent.
And those labels are now getting to the point to where a pedophile can actually join like their own community. They're creating like similar to what they did with the LGBTQ community. Now people are going to be starting to saying that I'm a born pedophile and that it's socially acceptable. And I kind of want to see with the fellas, what do you guys think about that?
It's
I would
terrible,
agree with
man.
that.
It's terrible. It's already in the DSM as far as psychological adjustment that needs to be clarified in counseling, which is terrible. I mean, you know, you have to identify certain actions as being wrong, and there has to be accountability right away. I think the more we overdiagnose things, the less we're holding people accountable. And I think that goes back to the Me Too movement. Ladies, if you hear me, I love you guys, man. But if you're hearing this right now and you haven't experienced, you know, someone treating you wrong in the workplace or someone doing you bad, if it happens, don't be a part of the Me Too movement. Be a part of the Not Me movement and do something about it immediately. Don't wait a week. Don't wait a month. Don't wait a year. Address that immediately. If someone disrespects you, someone is sexually harassing you, someone is doing something derogatory against you, please go to your HR department and do whatever it takes to shine a light on the situation so that you're not waiting until a controversy arises as a whole in a work group for something to get done. You know, the corporate world by far is not there to service you. You have to service yourself.
You know, that's an interesting fact that you just said there, Raymond. They should go and speak to someone, but what about for the people that's afraid of losing their jobs, or what about like a single mother that may have this job may be all she may have, and because of the fact that if she loses her job, she may not be able to pay rent or be able to you know, pay her child care or whatever the case may be. I think how do they deal with this type of situation?
Consultant attorney.
Yeah, I think,
But,
you know.
but now hold on now. We're not talking about someone that's wealthy. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, I understand your point, consultant attorney, because you're an attorney. But in our community, when we look at talking to an attorney, we think of $10,000.
Yeah, that's just more.
Well, the problem,
Most of
I
us do
think,
free consultations
I
at
think-
least 30 minutes.
yeah, the
Okay.
problem.
Hold on, let Ray finish
Yeah,
his
the
point.
problem, I think, to your question, Jamers, is in my experience in the corporate world, people don't know their rights.
Right.
People sign contracts and have jobs and don't know their rights. They don't know what an employer can and can't tell them.
But is that because of fear, you think?
I think it's an acceptance of having a job. I think a lot of people take promotions and never look at the job descriptions. I think a lot of people aren't aware of social interactions versus corporate or workplace interactions. We all get too relaxed in a workplace, you know, and a lot of things happen. I think, you know, as a regular person, you want to address things regular way, but you got to understand the minute you're on the clock, you are subject to those rules and regulations that ultimately benefit the employer. So you have to be aware of the rules, and you have to know when you're done wrong or when you're asked to stay, longer than you're supposed to, and then you need to act on it. So you need to be aware of rules and regulations that apply to your specific job description.
I got that.
Yeah, but what James is talking about is like someone who's literally feel like that if they say something, they could risk it all.
Yeah, I think that fear probably comes from anxiety they already had before they had the job. It's why the corporate world is so tough. It's because they know that. And you definitely gotta listen, people. If you got a job out there, you taking care of your family, your livelihood is at risk. When you tell or when you consult with your HR department, you may get fired, but it has to be worth it to you as far as your integrity and your character, especially if you have kids, especially if you're representing more than yourself. You can't be succumbed to a bully in the corporate world like you can't be succumbed to a bully in life.
Be fearless.
And I think just
fearless.
To go off of what Ray is saying, there are a lot of ways that you can go about reporting so you don't lose your job. I work for a company and they have like kind of a hotline that you call. Certain things are very confidential when you talk through this hotline.
But why does it have to be called a hotline when a woman is trying to call that number?
I don't think it's.
That's the way it is.
Okay, all right.
That's why you consult.
We're
What if
going in
that
another
makes them
direction.
feel uncomfortable calling the hotline?
Let's bring it back.
But 1-800 number, nigga. They don't have to be called a hotline, but
I think to Ray's point,
Can it be a code line?
And I know what Ray was trying to get across is, one of the things he was saying, and one of the fears of the Me Too movement is what Ray is saying is like, yeah, make the call, but don't wait 5 years to make the call.
and I'm with that.
You know what I'm
with
saying?
that.
And I think that's one of the things that, people, they bring things as kind of suspect, because you waited 3 years for this, you waited 4 years for that. But I think a lot of that has to do with something you brought up earlier, and that's like fear.
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 For sure.
Fear and being vulnerable.
And I feel like fear opens up gateways for you to be controlled. And so and the more, obviously I say this every week, but the more fear you have, the less powerful you actually are.
But
And
but you gotta also go back to Jay. You got to go back.
But I'm gonna double back. I'm gonna double back on the fact that someone who's taking your fear away is essentially psychologically raping you. So that's literally the first sign of a Me Too encounter is when somebody's taking your fear away. As a people, that happens at an early age, man.
It does. But what I'm saying, and what I keep saying, is how does a person who doesn't have much money go work on a job and have to be fearless when they know that it's a chance that they're going to lose their job for them being sexually harassed or some Me Too stuff happening
I
to
think
them?
the answer starts within them. And like I said, if someone's taking your ability to be fearless away, I think that in itself starts at how are we raising our kids? How is the household, progressing with what we're telling our kids when they leave home? Are we telling them that, okay, if someone challenges you, don't challenge them back? Are we saying that, if someone says something, it's not okay to question it? I grew up in a household and amongst family members where if you question what they was going to tell you to do,
right,
then you was getting your ass whipped.
Right.
And I think that for me, I got a lot of ass whoopers because of it.
So the opposite of fear, James, is knowledge. The opposite of fear is knowledge. So to answer your question,
right,
they need to enlighten themselves on how to fight back. If they sit there and just deal with it, I'm not saying run in guns blazing. Find out what steps they can take. That is the opposite. So if they aren't willing to take those steps, which might be consult an attorney so you know what your options are. And if you do, an attorney will probably tell you, document everything. If you can record if they're so brazen with these comments, then you should be able to record. Mm-hmm. And then you can build the evidence that makes your case trump tight, and then you move forward that way from a position of power.
And
that's
definitely
answering my question.
Yeah, and I see where Jay coming from, but I also see where James coming from a standpoint where people maybe they don't want to rock the boat. Maybe they're willing to sacrifice their dignity to just put, food on their table at home. And yeah, but just something because here's the thing, when you make a uproar, people get to talking and everything like that, and like, oh, did you hear so and so said? Oh yeah, he's taking Joe down. Joe's cool. I would never see him doing that. He doesn't deserve this.
Yeah,
and then
they created unions.
The chemistry.
They've created unions and a lot of corporate jobs.
And then if Joe has a lot of friends, depending on your industry. Like you may get blackballed.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
You might work in that type of industry.
Yeah, you might get blackballed because so and so, she stirs up, drama. She took this out of context and got legal and it can cost Joe his job. He has a family. God damn it, they get into all that. So
what you're talking about, Hollywood, is in itself a fear tactic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Corporations, people, businesses use that against people because they understand that jobs are scarce and they know that, people are in need of income. However, even though you work a job and you may never desire to be an entrepreneur, having an entrepreneurial mindset is what's going to make you excel in any job. They're going to give you a task and they're going to want you to independently by yourself hopefully work hard at that task and create means of income that benefit the business. People, don't be fooled, man. You got to learn to protect yourself. We talked about it in many of the podcasts before this. We're not just talking about physically, but mentally, you have to equip yourself with skills that protect your availability to be the person that hopefully that God desires you to be.
And the crazy part is I feel like, and I always like to make this shift, is that a lot of businesses use fear tactics as their business model of running business. Just like most people would tell you, okay, well, what's the best way to be a father to a son? Oh, you got to make them fear you. And I think that when you growing up in church, it was like the fear tactic was there.
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom and knowledge.
Like, wait a minute, hold up. So you telling me, you going to tell me all these bad things that could possibly happen, right? And how bad hell is, just so that I could believe in your God. You know what I'm saying? I think.
Wait a minute now, Jason. Wait a minute. Hey.
I think that
you didn't took it a little too far.
I think that needs to be said.
You didn't took it a little too far now. I'm praying for you now. All right.
Hey, listen though. This is kind of my point of view, and this is my take home with that. When we have so many things going in the direction of, let's see how afraid we can make this individual so that they can act how we want them to. I think that at some point somebody got to wake up to say, "Hey, I'm tired of getting beat up. I'm tired of getting bullied."
Absolutely.
Now, let's be clear. Now there are healthy fears.
Yeah, and I'm not
putting food on the table.
I'm not advocating getting bullied or getting sexually abused or anything at work in the workplace. Like, let's be clear. But I'm just saying, like, what's probably preventing people to take those necessary steps is because they're willing to sacrifice the fear. Yeah, they're willing to just sacrifice.
When a kid gets taken advantage of or raped in church, and he's an altar boy, sometimes the father or the priest of the church is saying, "Well, listen, if you say something about this, then you might not go to heaven."
Some shit, right?
And your family.
That to me is like what I was trying to get at.
Nobody will believe you anyway.
That's a real case that happens literally. Yeah. It happens more than what they actually report, and we gotta address it.
But where does that fear come from? I mean, you talked about coming up in your household, and but see, I think it starts somewhere different. I think it definitely starts in the home because I work with black people, I work with white people. Some of the conversations we have, especially some of my white coworkers, they'll go to their supervisor and say anything, because they weren't raised to have fear of anything, so to speak. Right. And like you hit on, in our homes, we're scared to question our parents growing up because we weren't going to get the answer, we were going to get the backhand.
But that also saved us from when we were getting pulled over by the police to keep our mouth shut. And I typically have experience doing that to where I knew I can't question the police officers just like I would see someone who was white doing it. Mm-hmm. I had to make sure I followed those rules that my parents gave me. As much as I might not have liked them, that actually has saved my life in this society. And it actually has saved my life in my neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Because you can't just always buck up when somebody's pressing you and it's a life or death situation.
But I don't think we've learned as a people where to apply certain things. Like, yeah, when you're dealing with the cops, you got to shut the fuck up sometimes.
Right.
But when you in your workplace or even talking to your family or whatever, sometimes it's all right to speak what you got to speak because you got to get that across. But we have this fear inside of us to open up.
Right.
Yeah, my mom, she, shout out to LaDonna Lewis, she taught me and my sister to understand what we consider authority very clearly. We had the right to uphold my mom's rules and regulations above anyone. And the things that she taught us, we were to apply in life when she wasn't present. And I think as a people, first of all, we have a hard time as Black people telling on anybody. Right. It's such a tough thing, for a Black person to tell on anybody, whether they're right and wrong, and then we apply that to the corporate world and we get done wrong, or someone says something to us and then we don't want to address it because we don't want to tell on somebody. We have to get to the point as a people, man, where you carry yourself professionally or take your ass to the streets and carry yourself in a street-like manner. But if you choose to go the professional route, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Render unto the...
Hey, you know what?
Knock it off, Ray.
That's funny because, like, what you said in the corporate world and how it goes, I remember working a job and a guy crashed a golf cart, right? He was a guy that worked with me. And I didn't say shit about it. I was like, I was quiet. I was totally quiet about it. And they fired me for not saying nothing about it.
That's cold.
And I remember the guy that I worked with, I never forget him to this day. His name was Wendell Brooks. Wendell said,
shout out to Mr. Wendell.
Wendell said, hey, he said, hey, fuck that, dude. What the fuck you think you had? This ain't the streets. He was like, fuck that motherfucker. Now he working and your ass ain't.
Yeah. Wow. That's
and
true.
those was exact words. Like, you gone and he's still here.
That's true. They don't call it tattletelling. They say throw under the bus.
Yeah,
like,
he was like, this ain't the streets.
I don't want to be thrown under the bus. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Don't. And
Go ahead, Wes.
Yeah, and you just have to use a level of discernment, when you actually in the corporate field, because it's like, is it worth it? You always have to ask yourself that question. And then it comes back to the lack of self-respect you have for yourself or the lack of love you have for yourself. So when you actually, weigh all those things out, because if we being honest, in this we all have been affected systematically. We all can wage war against the government, the president, all that, but we have not. Because we wouldn't be in the predicament we all in right now. So we all have a level of fear. Let's not get it twisted.
That's true.
So when you take it there, it's kind of like, okay, how can I, live in this situation? How can I, make my family self-sufficient and actually, just deal with what I have to deal with? Because a lot of times you can help the person right there on the spot. They may have mistreated you, but if you just have that simple conversation, you may help themselves, and then just better for everybody rather than, just, reporting them to the HR.
And they'll remember that.
Exactly.
When that time, and that's the one thing.
Because love heals hate. That's the only thing that can heal hate is love.
And I want to point that out about corporate America. They resolve stuff. In my experience, my little bit of experience, when they're wrong, they resolve it, and you can usually resolve it for a tad bit more by keeping it quiet. That's been my experience.
Lincoln lawyer talk
in corporate, negotiating with corporate America. It's like you're not trying to make this big media campaign. You could, you have the right, but look, we're changing this. So it don't happen again. It did something, and this is your particular compensation.
Absolutely.
And that's what is a way to handle. But that goes back to the knowledge and answering those questions on how they could do that. It's like, if you are in an industry like yours where people have all of this, and you actually build your case and you show this person the hard evidence you have against them that you're not putting out, now you've given yourself a certain level of leverage that you might not have if you didn't go the other way. And it lets that person know they need to correct, or more people are going to get this leverage on you.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to literally sit there and say, do I stand up for this or do I take this shit? What am I willing to wager on it?
And choose your battles. I think, I think we all some point choose our battles, and it's
if he's smacking your ass at the job, you need to say something.
But
for sure.
But I think you hit on something really good there. You talk about we all, especially us around this table, men of color, waging our battles in the workplace. I mean, I know for me, it's tough sometimes working in corporate America just to be myself.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm known around the job as the dude who wear all the fresh sneakers.
Same.
You know,
Yeah. I mean, I get it too.
And
you know what I'm saying?
that?
You have so many fresh sneakers.
Right.
Oh, you're just supreme or whatever. And it's just kind of like they make a big deal. But when I'm amongst my partners, like this is just how we roll. And I mean, here's the thing. Like, I don't know.
I kind of make a big deal about it too.
I make a big deal too. Hollywood is
especially when you get that bump.
God,
You know what I'm
get out
saying?
of- get out of here.
bump.
Come in
I
that
remember
new
when he got
Supreme.
that
Hey, y'all coming in hot. But here's the thing. Here's the thing, man. I'm trying to say, like, I don't know how y'all feel in the workplace, but I'm an independent contractor, so meaning like I get hired in to do different jobs, and 9 times out of 10, I'm the only black guy. You know what I'm saying? And I had to get used to that, and like I had something at first I like to call like white people anxiety. Just because like coming to work and being around a lot of faces that weren't like mine or didn't really necessarily like relate to me, and me feeling like I had to conform to more how they ran and did things.
Right.
And then like almost at the end of the day, I would get home and just like breathe like shit. Now, because, like sometimes like, oh, you talk so loud. And y'all tell me I talk loud too. That's just something known. But it's just like, like you're coming in, like, so you're so animated or you're so this or that. And it's just kind of like, damn, I really just want to be myself. But to kind of like, almost felt like I had to
so it's like
dial it back.
When you're at work instead, because I always fuck with you on when you, I mean? So
Yeah,
at work,
yeah.
do you say, you know what I mean? Or is it still, I mean? You guys know what I'm saying, right?
Nah,
I mean?
That nigga, he got that typical white voice like every other nigga do at work.
You just gotta.
No, I turn my I mean into for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you really gotta just be smart and adapt to your environment. Because at the end of the day, everybody don't act the same around everybody. If you worked for LeBron, it's certain things you're gonna like. Certain people, not me, but certain people will be like, okay, I'm gonna take this time because that's LeBron. Or people of power. It's not just even corporate America. It's people that work from Magic Johnson, Diddy, all these people. I mean, when James saw Beyonce, he froze up. I'm like, dang. So it's like if he's I'm like, you're not yourself all the time, James? Yeah, I didn't know that. So it's like me, I'm just like, I'm myself all the time.
Right.
That's because I adapt to my environment. It's not that I'm changing who I am, but I'm adapting who I am.
But how do you adapt to your environment? Because if you say I got to adapt to my environment,
Then that's not,
I want to know, how do you be yourself and adapt to your environment at the same time?
Oh man, it's in me, not
It's
on me,
coming,
and it
'cause he
can be
smiled
taught.
at me.
It can't be taught, but it's really something that I feel like it's a gift of mine.
Right.
And it's actually like the reason I can go up to Jesse Jackson and confront him about something, and he's Jesse Jackson.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like he's a normal person. It's really just me, just being myself, and what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And at the end of the day, I do have a level of like self-respect for myself to sacrifice at that time to say, well, no, this is bigger than who he is or who we think he is. Because at the end of the day, we are unfinished products created by the same creator.
Right.
And once you realize that, you operate accordingly.
But here's the thing about you saying that you adapt, and to like you, I'm myself too. But I might be a little more watered down version of myself, like when I'm in the workplace.
Well, it's like this. If I'm actually somewhere, let's say I'm a receptionist, and all these strangers are coming up to my desk, I'm smiling. Why? Because I don't know how that person is feeling or what they went through. So you have to have that presence, and that's how you actually adapt to like every different personality. If you start off with being kind and start off with love is the universal answer of everything. So that's how I actually adapt per se in those situations.
Okay, so
I like that. I like that point of view. Our father is a musician, and one thing that he told us at an early age is that music is a universal language. There's no such thing as people not understanding the soulful vibrations that that come from musical instruments. And so, if you actually look at ourselves, we look at ourselves like we're all a musical instrument playing in this big orchestra to create a harmonious environment, then we will do our role, in terms of what our instrument gift is. And I think that to Chris's point, I don't think it's a watered down version. I think you just have many gifts. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's just supposed to be one way all the time, because then that would be boring. You know what I'm saying? I know for sure when I met my wife and when I proposed to her, I reached a different vibration that I hadn't experienced before. You know what I'm saying? And I'm literally in front of someone who I'd been around for 2 years, but I hadn't even had proposed to her yet. But I think that took me to a new level of like playing my instrument in a harmonious way where we were connected in a spiritual way.
And just to bring it home, you have to have that same level of fairness. Like if there's never an awkward moment for me. Like I can be in those situations and tell people no. I can tell people say, Jay West, you got to hook up to this, you got to hook up with this. Can I come? No. And I can look them dead in the eye, and I'm ready to handle that situation accordingly. Whatever, but everybody's not like that. I can have an ex-girlfriend, ex-wife, anything, and still feel comfortable. There's people that won't even go up to their mother or father and say they're not happy in their household, or there's people in marriages that want to get divorced but can't even tell their partner to divorce. They rather sit there and actually, be unhappy rather than how the world perceives them. So everything buckled down to like being fearless. And me being fearless, and I can flip a trip in front of the whole Staples Center and still smile and still feel that same happiness. So you have to have that level of comfortability with yourself.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's like comfortability. I just think, just sometimes it's just like I'm more so just dial it back because, sometimes I'll be like, when somebody may say something condescending or whatever, I'll be like, man, rather than saying, man, fuck you, you got me fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like I would say in the street or something like that, I'm more so, be like, okay, you got that, or may make a little snarky remark, but it's like, that's what I mean, a watered down version.
It's almost like when you black in the workplace, sometimes you feel like you in a cage. I'm not gonna say monkey in a cage, but it's almost like you feel like you in a cage because they watching you.
It's definitely testing on your ego.
And I wanted to ask you guys a question. Like when I would answer the phone, because where I worked, they monitored the phones.
Right.
So it means like if a sales call was coming in, they're listening to your whole pitch to get this person in the door.
Right.
So.
Hey James,
they came to me.
You don't have no job.
They came.
Hey, one thing on C-No point.
I'm talking about when I worked in the corporate world.
Okay, all right.
I'm not talking about tomorrow, but I'm just talking about when I worked in the corporate world. But anyway, when you ask someone, when they would sit up and listen to me, and they say, you know what, the way you answer the phone, we kind of, it's a little different. And I said, well, what do you mean different? Like, you don't answer the phone the way Chad answers the phone. Chad's white.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He doesn't speak the same, and it was like, well, you think you could be a little bit more polished?
Don't say polished, because I thought they were going to say professional.
No, polished.
Right.
And it's like, it's nothing, but it's like, when you answer the phone, it's like you're just hanging around a group of people and someone's just on the line.
Well, fuck, how did you answer the phone, dog?
Yeah, I was going to answer that too. Like, how'd you answer?
Well, I don't really have a white voice.
So it was your voice, your cadence, and your...
2 seconds on the line.
But did they have a protocol to teach you how to answer the phone when you started the job? Did they have a protocol set there?
My voice is my voice. As long as I'm speaking correctly and as long as I'm pronouncing words correctly, I don't have to soften down or be who I'm not. My voice is my voice.
Oh, so you talking about the tone of your voice?
Yeah, the tone of
not your actual dialect of words.
Well, I think it depends on the job. If you're trying to like sell some shit or whatever, you can't just be hello.
Well, I don't speak like that.
What's going on?
But see, hold on.
Just because just like the
when
Disney,
they hire you, they're not paying you more money to change.
But not just like
Disney's employee, like you gotta be chipper and everything like that.
But they should take it as a coaching opportunity and teach you the pitch that they want you to say.
There is no pitch though.
Well,
It's
I
just a
mean,
simple
it
fact that
sounds
they
like
want-
you are operating in a bad business, sir.
It's just
and it didn't work out for
Oh
you.
no, it worked out for me, but it wasn't. It was.
Are you
it
still
worked
working
out.
at the job now?
I quit. No. What I'm saying
It's
is
the best thing that ever
it
happened
worked.
to
It
him.
worked out for me. It wasn't the problem of my productivity. It didn't have anything to do with me getting people in. I was great at what it is that I did. It was a simple fact. They were recording the lines, and they wanted to hear me sound a certain way,
Yeah.
and I can't help them with
Well,
that.
when I called up there, you said, "Oh, Raymond, is this you? It's too sick. I'm at the job. Leave me alone right now."
Well, real quick, just to dial it back home for me. I mean, just because, like I said, I'm an independent contractor. If I'm not comfortable at a job, then I'll fucking leave. You know what I mean? But, I wear what I want to wear at work. I really, I still talk throw a little slang in there and everything. But I don't really try to react too aggressively because the stereotypes of the angry black male, and I try to really, I guess, watch that shit. When actually people really do have me fucked up in the workplace, I really try to just sometimes I take the L because I think of the bigger picture. Like I just don't want to go out like another angry black male. What they're all like. That's why I feel like
You
they're
don't
looking
want
at me.
anyone to throw you under the bus.
I mean that too.
Yes.
but
Gotcha.
but I don't want to give them what they
What they want. Yeah.
ultimately.
I mean, I think there are cultural differences, and I think companies should start to respect the cultural differences. I mean, on Dress Down Friday, what that Dress Down Friday means for Chad doesn't mean for me.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
But the attack I felt like was on me because I worked with not only I worked with Indians. Okay, they had a real thick accent. I would hear people say, "I don't understand. Can you say it again, or can you put someone else on the phone?" I worked with Asians. Okay, that had thick accents. I worked with all sorts of people, and the attack was more so on me not being polished.
Because you sound black, man. That's what it boils down to at the end of the day.
Nigga sound like he just woke up off the
Sound
couch.
like bro man from the fifth floor, dog.
Well, what about the Indian guy?
Hey, man, but look, they'll do business with Indians.
But can we do that? Can we?
No, MK, you cannot do that. These companies, man, as much as they talk about diversity and inclusion, they don't want you to be yourself.
No,
They don't want you to be yourself. They want you to be a polished
I want
version.
you to be whoever I pay you, to be.
Exactly. who they pay you to
and then
be.
that goes back.
If
That
you're
goes
great
back
at-
down to when people was upset about Tommy Hilfiger saying he didn't make his clothes for black people.
Now, did he actually factually say that? Like,
He said he did not make his clothes for black people.
But there was a part two of that we can't get into
But
right now.
I understand why he said
Is
it.
he still selling?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you're great at what you do with the Gucci situation, when you're great at what you do, when you putting out work of excellence and you feel that power in yourself, I'll fight somebody in the workplace. No point blanks. I have cussed people out in the workplace because I know they can't replace me. So when you outworking everybody, when you're in a level of position where you put yourself in a hierarchy of the company where you can't be touched, that's also important. But then again, one thing I say, the best math you can do is how to calculate the future cost of your current decision. Because it's like, if you say, okay, that's going to get me locked up and I have kids at home and, for 10 years, that's that. But if you can say, no, this is what's right. I got to do this. And then we all going to respect each other at the end of what I'm saying. So,
Hey, listeners, look, don't cuss nobody out. Don't fight nobody. You will get your ass fired.
But
All right, Wes
but
is
you
a-
do have to
is
speak the
different.
language.
LeBron didn't get fired.
Hey, go
I
ahead.
get that,
Go ahead,
but you
Johnny.
have to speak the language of the space you're in. And when we're in corporate America, that's a very specific language, and that's
Right,
one
right,
thing
right,
I
right.
think we have to understand. We're choosing to go
Sure,
into
yeah,
corporate
exactly.
America. We don't have to work in
And
corporate
I'm
America.
100% with that. I think it actually shows your gift and your versatility when you are able to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to let that one rub off my shoulder. Or I could actually turn a negative into a positive. That actually is one of the best qualities. So if I'm looking to hire someone, regardless of what they look like or what race they are, if they have that outstanding quality, I think that they're eligible for that role. I would hate for someone to get the stigma and think like, okay, well, I should go into this interview saying that I will literally sacrifice all of my integrity and haul off and hit someone because they said something I didn't agree with or because they did something that offended me. I think that at the end of the day, when we look at it from a perspective, like Jaye said, we are choosing to work in corporate America. If you decide to run your own business, that's different. If you want to show value and how you want to basically, you're only as valuable as someone sees you as. And when you're working for someone, when you work for yourself, you create the value. And so I think that, all of us have experience in getting to where we've gotten. We all have college degrees. We all have made it through a lot of obstacles by being versatile. I think that's one of the biggest things that separate us. So when we do come across people of different nationalities, it doesn't feel like it's the first time that we're coming across them when we open our mouths to them. They're like, wow, this person actually is someone who I can relate to, identify with. And when Mike answers the phone at his job and he sounds very professional, no one else is hearing that but the person on the other end. And they literally are going to get a perspective of how he's representing his company brand. And that to me is that's the favorite. That's the favorite thing that someone else can hear. This is why they have you do survey calls at the end of the call for a lot of corporations. They'll say, hey, can you rate this call on a scale from 1 to 5, 5 being the best, 1 being the worst? It's because they want to know that the person who's working for them is upholding their brand standards. And that's pretty much, that's why they have the job.
And we need to get out of this whole someone sounding intelligent or someone sounding polished sounds white. We need to get out of that.
Yeah.
We need to get out of that. People listening.
You can sound white.
No, listen. I can sound intelligent, and I'm always be black.
And you do.
You can sound black and intelligent.
Well, I mean, that's a misconception. Just because you enunciate things, the right way. You speak up to the mic, little fella. So
speak from your nasal ring.
When you get an opportunity to have the educational platform that most of us did at this table. Shout out to Hampton University. There's a couple graduates in the building.
Shout out to Compton.
We learned some things, all right? And at the end of the day, you can't apologize for being intelligent and speaking the correct way. Some of us, like Jai, Person Lynn, we're a little verbose, a little loquacious. But, other of us, we know how to hit our points and leave it at that.
But why do we say you sound white, you sound black?
Because we're ignorant.
Okay.
We're ignorant.
Sometimes
That's why.
niggas sound white, period.
But what is sound white? Are we saying white people are only intelligent people?
No. It's not even intelligent. It's talking when you got a stick up your ass. Because when everything that comes out of your mouth sounds sarcastic. Hey there, how are you? That's the sarcastic, stigma over that. That's white talk. It's not even on the intelligent versus ignorant. To me, it's talking like you basically got a stick up your ass.
The whole point is
you're not relaxed.
The whole point is that we literally grew up in a comedic culture. I mean, from Richard Pryor to Red Fox,
Eddie Murphy,
all the way to Eddie Murphy. To Dave Chappelle.
So does Dave Chappelle sound white?
Mike Epps.
Chappelle
No, I'm saying that these are comedians that specific. I mean, Eddie Murphy, he specifically did a comedy show on Saturday Night Live where he painted himself white for a day, and I think that was probably one of my favorite episodes ever in life, watching Saturday Night Live, and everyone can remember that, and that was like hilarious. And I think at the end of the episode, he kind of came at home and he was like, hey, whoever you are, just be yourself. This isn't intended to offend anyone. But I think what he was saying to the audience is literally, this is what black people talk about. Because we find it funny, And I think that's just us being light, as us being a comedic culture, a jubilant culture. And we literally find certain things funny and we like to express them.
So why do we get upset?
White to me is the same as sounding like you're from New York or you're from somewhere else.
Why do we get upset when we hear black voice coming from white people?
I don't really get upset.
That's a question right there.
I don't really get upset because at the end of the day, like you guys are saying, a white voice and a black voice. You know what a white voice. I think everybody at this table speaks very intelligently. Now, I do feel like that there are some of you are going to speak a little differently when you get around white people, and I've watched it. I've watched friends of mine. And I look at them like, how the fuck did you just call him sir and all this other bullshit? And you just, you know what I'm saying? It's just, I think it's a stress that we carry. But see, Wes is a little different because he doesn't give anybody power.
Wes is a lot different.
But he doesn't give anybody power. Like, and I think that's what it boils down to is that the moment you change who you are right off the bat, you've given someone power.
Because the West speaks the love language.
No, but it's as simple as this. It's like, don't just go overboard. Like when it comes to, any other races, it's a cultural thing to me. Don't say, hey, fascism, my nizzle, and this and this and like.
Nobody here saying that shit.
Hell no.
No. There's white people.
No, I'm talking about us.
I'm talking about white folks.
Oh, okay.
He's doing the reverse.
Yeah, I'm talking about them talking to, like James said, when he feels like he has to overcompensate going over, different race woman house. That's kind of like, okay, now you guys are doing over. Do you want some watermelon and chicken? Like, I think that's where it goes a little overboard. So just kind of like, because we're not going to go overboard and, say, this is Todd from the East Side, not all the way on the East Side, but, and this is a Snoop album. But
So why do we make excuses for white rappers? The same thing Too Sick is saying. We hear a Eminem. We hear a Yellow Wolf.
Eminem talk like how he grew up though.
I mean, you're aware that he grew up in.
I saw 8 Mile.
You're aware because you saw the movie.
Right.
However, if you just heard him for the first time and you say, "Damn, this is dope," do you assimilate him with talking black or talking white? You don't know his history. However, I think
He still sounds like an angry white man. When
He sounds like, I was about to say, he don't really sound black to me. Yeah.
He doesn't sound like.
Now, if you would have said
different.
like a Bubba Sparks or something.
What about Paul Wall?
Yeah, Paul Wall, he sound like a nigga.
He sound like a nigga.
Yeah, but everybody has that one white guy that grew up in a neighborhood that was just like, hey, we accepted them as,
So you guys make excuses for them only.
Hey, I've seen an essay dude that's when he opened his mouth, he sounded straight
Who
like
was
a
it?
nigga.
Busted?
Shout out
Probably his cousin.
Shout
on
out
the
to
dance.
Busted is in the
Busted
building.
been here the whole
That's a good
time.
point, though.
man.
Look, because like if a white dude grew up around blacks his whole life, right, and he just happened to sound like how we speak, is that against him? And then you got a white dude that grew up in a white neighborhood that came up white, under white dialect and everything, and then he tries to sound black. I think that shit is like
because
corny and fucked
it comes
up,
down
but-
to it sound natural though, because
if it comes out like
grew up-
Paul Wall, if it come out natural, he's not trying.
I'm not gonna press Paul Wall at all.
Yeah, it just sound natural. But when you know what sound unnatural,
Yeah, for sure.
Like
So you guys pick and choose which white guy you accept. That's what you're saying.
Shout out to my homeboy Chad,
Everybody, it's so crazy, man. Hey, listen, if you want
We a bunch of hypocrites, ladies
there's
and
a lot of
gentlemen.
hypocrites in the
That's just
building.
what it
I'm
is.
looking around, especially at Too Sick. He got a white Jesus on his neck. He got a black little Jesus on his neck.
Those Jesuses are
He
me.
got a lot going on, man. It's tough.
Oh man, hey. So real quick though, because y'all brought up something that just hit me in the head. When we talk about hip hop, I want to know, and white rappers, I want to know what y'all think of Logic.
Logic is
He's
white to
mixed.
the well. I mean, no, he
white, but I think he's mixed.
he is mixed.
He's mixed.
He is
He
mixed.
look white though.
And he look white. He look like a little white nerd kid.
Yeah.
but he's hard though.
Is he a descendant of African American slaves?
He looked like Clark Kent.
Hey, listen,
Low-key.
man. Logic, when he opens his mouth, he's probably one of the most corniest rappers I think that has lyrical skills, but he's definitely corny. I'm not even going to hold no punches. Logic gets no play in my car at all.
What about Lil Dicky?
No.
Lil Dicky got bars, boy.
He can't rap.
Yeah.
No.
Lil
Listen
Dicky
to
got
freestyles.
bars. Yeah.
See, and that's the funny thing you hit on, because a lot of people that I talk to in regards to Logic, even though he's biracial, they feel like he just kind of hijacking our culture a little bit.
And what's my man from the Bay Area? Shout out to the Bay.
G-Eazy?
G-Eazy.
Oh, hey, that's
man,
my dude
I mess
now.
with G-Eazy.
That's my
I
dude.
can play some G-Eazy when I'm working
But
out.
in the
But no
Bay,
Logic.
black culture is heavily influenced. Whether you're Asian, Tongan, white, that's just the culture. Like that. That's just like you all getting down.
Shout
Like,
out to Theo from 92.3 to be back in the day. I don't know if y'all know
I
about
thought he
this.
was black.
Afternoon drive. Quick. Afternoon drive, Theo. This is
Hey,
Theo.
no. What did Theo used to come on to?
92.3.
No, he had
What did
Quick had the music. Quick had the
What did
song.
he used to come on to?
Before Quick made a song?
No, what did Theo used to come on to?
All I
Tell
remember
us.
is Quick.
Tell us, man. We'll be here all night. Tell us, James.
What? Nigga, Fresh as MC.
Okay.
KD.
I knew Theo was black when he went to jail for having them couple pounds of weed. He went on a 2 or 3 year hiatus.
We didn't know Theo was black. You got to be 100. I sure the fuck didn't know.
Theo had a role.
Black, is he?
Is Theo black or not?
No,
Theo was Filipino.
We didn't know he wasn't. We thought he was black.
That's why he was a fly Filipino.
Yeah,
nigga.
we didn't know. Yeah, we didn't. So you thought he was black?
No, he had
Theo will call a nigga up. Theo will call a nigga up and ask him about why he not paying child support and everything.
Theo was real. Theo was real.
Oh man, LA moments, y'all.
Shout out to
LA
Theo.
moments.
R.I.P. Theo.
If you grew up in the '90s, you definitely listened to 92.3 The Beat. Shout out
We're
to
going to
Theo.
get out to some of that.
Was it racing the color lines? What was
Actually,
the,
is he
slogan?
dead?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay, we gonna.
Yeah, man. That was Jay West.
We're going to keep it.
He might be on the radio in the back.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls,
Hey, shout
we're
out to
going to
the
keep
homie
it down
Theo.
to
What's
no
happening,
color
man?
lines.
Theo, what's
No
going on
color
with you,
lines.
I never liked that. No color lines.
Shit, that's another show.
And at that point, I have to say the wheels have officially fell off. We gonna call this one.
Wait, we got to get a busted minute up in here.
No, see that's what happens.
Episode,
That's what happens when you show up late. There is no busted minute, even though Busted is sitting here. He's already decided that he's not doing the busted minute. Would you like to take the busted minute?
Yeah, please.
You want to tell us about
Handle that,
guns or
Jay.
something?
That's some BS that they're. First of all, I'm
Go
talking
ahead,
about
give me
how
a
you-
give me a closing argument, Jai.
My closing argument is this. As descendants of American slaves and Cuban slaves and Mexican slaves, we all just need to band together because it's all about we're not part of the corporation, the United States of America. We are part of the people. And the people, that's what the 4th of July showed me. I swear, I was driving down the 110 freeway and I said, wow, today everybody said, fuck the law. We gonna shoot these fireworks.
Fireworks off.
So if we would just apply that to other aspects of our being, we would have a much more powerful presence in this land.
You sounded white as shit when you said that.
Oh, man.
Okay, listen. That was
Not to end black.
that was very stick up your ass kind of talk there.
Hey man, I saw it happen one time. I was talking to my mentor, and then we got off. He was like, "Hey Barry," he was like, "Hey, how you doing?" I was like, "How'd you do that?" Like right there, just on the fly. He just started to. I'd never seen this man talk like that.
Somebody escort Jai to his car, man. We gonna make sure these